Hi everybody, welcome from Australia. My name is Chrissy and I do prediction readings regularly just to keep us up to date with the current energies and what's kind of going on around the globe. But firstly, I just want to have a little bit of admin because I have noticed that I've been getting a lot of subscribers disappearing, and I don't know if that's something that YouTube does intentionally. So if you can't find me, just go search me up, Chrissy Fitzgerald. I'm still here, but I have noticed there's been a change in subscribers quite dramatically. So I'm guessing that they sort of do control a lot of these things. And the other thing is some of my comments, I've seen them and then they've been taken off. So if I haven't replied to you, I haven't actually seen them because I did tap them on the other day and then it just disappeared. So I don't know what's going on there. I guess we have a lot of question marks sometimes around YouTube and the way that they work everything. So if I haven't replied to you, it's not that I am ignoring it. It's just that I haven't seen it. And like I said, one I tapped on the other day just vanished and it was very, very bizarre. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So keep looking for me. I'm still here. Someone thought I'd gone the other day, but I'm still here. So today I'm going to do this channel reading for the 6th of March and we'll just see what comes through. Now I'm getting the message of we deliver. So they're delivering in the post. So they're showing me that they're putting letters into the mailbox. So I think the message here, if you're watching this video, is that they're saying that we deliver. If you have been asking and working, obviously we talk a lot about manifesting, I know, this is what they're saying. They're finally going to start delivering. So some of the things that we've been putting our energy on are going to start to come to fruition and to come true. So this is why they're showing that the letters in the mailbox. So these letters are getting put in people's mailboxes and this is the delivery of the things that we've been asking for. So if you've been putting your energy on a lot of things and you're wanting to make change and you're trying to put things out there, then I feel like sort of these things are changing and they're starting to be delivered to you. So I think that's pretty positive because we've all been asking for some big changes in the last couple of months, and I think finally things are starting to be delivered, and that's why they're showing me that letters going through into the mailbox. So it's sort of showing me the front door, and it's an example they're giving me is when Harry Potter gets that letter to go to Hogwarts, and one letter comes through and then they just keep coming through all through the house. They come through the chimney, they come everywhere. If anyone's watched Harry Potter, that positive mail finally gets to him. As much as they tried to, I think it was the uncle tried to take the letters and hide them, they keep coming. So that's a really positive message that anything that you've had your thoughts on, that's starting to be delivered now. And they're saying to me like messages are being heard on the grapevine. So when you think of when people say, oh, I heard it on the grapevine, you know, just kind of like the song. But what it means is little things are trickling down and people are starting to hear small snippets and things are starting to add up. Now, yesterday, I think it was, Shane Warne, the famous Australian cricketer, I'm sure you all know of him. He apparently died of a heart attack in Thailand. It's all very mysterious because they're saying he did have some sort of chest heart pains or something like that. So we do have to question a lot of these things now, what's going on. And this is where this grapevine, I'm not saying that that's definitely linked to boosters and things like that, but he did actually stand up and say that Djokovic, when the tennis player was here in Australia, that he should be getting vaccinated, and he was really heard pushing the vaccines. So you do have a lot of question marks around some of these things. So that's the kind of thing I'm getting, is that this is what starts this sort of grapevine and people talking, you know, I heard it through the grapevine. So little whispers are starting now, like could these things be linked to myocarditis? We obviously know there's a lot of these things kind of rising out there. So that's an example of this, hearing things through the grapevine. People are starting to, like I said yesterday, look for that information. They're starting to hear little bits and pieces, and they're sort of putting their little puzzle together themselves. So it's showing kind of that jigsaw puzzle, and people are putting the pieces together. Right, we've got the corners, we've got the sides. Now we just have to fill in the middle and fill in the gaps. And that's an energy that I'm definitely getting at the moment, is people are hearing little things on the grapevine and they're starting to piece the puzzle together themselves. Now, I've had somebody ask me from the Netherlands if I could just touch on them, so I'm just going to give them a little snippet and see what comes through. Sorry, not the Netherlands, I did them the other day. Finland. So I'm just going to see what comes through for Finland. Now, for Finland, I'm getting a lot of fibre optic cables. I feel there's a lot of cabling going on in your region. It's being rolled out in a really big way. And I really believe in Finland that this is changing the dynamics a lot of people's thinking patterns. It's emitting an energy now that's causing a really big shift in the vibration in Finland. I mean, I think we all know, we all talk about the 5G and some of the things that are coming, but I feel like in Finland there's a lot of this fibre optic kind of cables. I'm just getting that, and they're really thick, like there's a lot of them. And this is being implemented very heavily where you are, and that's something to sort of really think about, you know, when these things are being rolled out, it has to have an effect. So it's like for every action, there's like a reaction. So these things could start to have an effect on people's kind of livelihood in Finland. Because there's going to be really big change. And that's something I'm really seeing for Finland is, in fact, you might even be one of the first few getting this really rolled out digital system sort of implemented. So that's something that I'm definitely getting for Finland is you might be one of the first ones to kind of be really ahead of the crowds. It's kind of what they're saying to me. Because that's what I'm getting for you, a lot of fibre optic cable. That's the visual I'm getting, and that's that change in the energy shift in Finland. Overall, you've been moving along really nicely too, but I do feel like it's not so much that it's hidden, but there's a lot background going on. There's a big push for that digital world in Finland. Somebody else asked me also about France and Macron. Now, I did say in my video that the other day that Macron has been very quiet, and they did confirm to me that he has an election. There is an election coming up. He feels very strong in his importance, I guess you could place it, but he also feels like he's got no competition. He feels like he's like the only one that's going to be standing there. So he's very positive in that outcome. He sort of doesn't have any doubt in his mind that he is the one that people want in charge. And again, it still shows me that he's kind of waiting. So he's going to veer around another way. He's seen what hasn't worked in other countries and how he doesn't want to rub his people up the wrong way anymore. He can see that that's backfired a lot with Trudeau and that. So he's going to try and manipulate other ways around it. And I still keep getting that for him. I do feel that he does have support of the masses in France. It's very strange. But again, it gets back to that kind of brainwashing and that mass psychosis. People are consumed by their freedoms and what the things that they want. So basically people are quite selfish. So when it comes to Macron, we know that he's definitely leading a lot of these sort of and implementing things that they want to. But I do feel like he feels very confident in winning that race, definitely. And I do feel like he has a lot of support in that. But he's not going to really push until after that election. Again, it's a bit like here in Australia, we're coming to an election, I think it's in May, and it's all gone quiet. This is that stagnant energy where it's gone quite quiet around the globe in some parts because they're just waiting to get through these elections, and I think then we're going to find things are going to start to shift again. It's going to be interesting, actually. So that's what I'm getting from Macron, that he feels very confident. And to be honest, he does have a lot of massive support. And I know that's probably not what a lot of people want to hear, but this is what happens when they manipulate people's minds. People will do anything to get their freedoms back. We know that. They'll just to do whatever it takes. So that's something I'm definitely getting for France. I'll just see what else comes through for the global energies. So I'm getting a lot of this like crowd pleasing. So that's kind of in quote is crowd pleasing. So around the globe, they've gone into this damage control where they're doing whatever they can to please the crowd. Like basically this is, if we can just get the crowds to settle, then this is going to really help us moving forward to implement that sort of that last little bit to the home straight. So I talked about this the other day, that they're probably already implemented about 3/4 of the global reset. And this has all happened in the background. While all this pandemic was going on, a lot of this was actually being implemented. And I think a lot of people have really seen that now because of the way that Trudeau has responded with such harsh measures. They want this global control. Now, that's what I'm getting about the crowd pleasing. If we can just get these people to kind of settle down and not draw attention to this anymore, then they'll forget about the Great Reset. They'll forget about all the things that we're trying to implement. And everyone will feel like, oh no, that never happened. That was a conspiracy and we're just getting on with our lives. That's what is going on at the moment. There's crowd pleasing. So if we keep the crowd happy and give them that false normal and false illusion that their life is getting back to normal, then they're going to leave us alone. We can get on with our agenda. We can implement the things that we want to without that pushback, because they don't like the pushback. The pushback highlights to other people, not just the crowd they're dealing with. It highlights to other people that there could be more to the agenda other than, obviously, we know the pandemic. So that's become more and more clear to a lot of people that there could be something more. And this is what they're wanting to, it's almost like they're throwing water on the fire and putting the fire out. And that's their quick solution. If we can just please the crowd, then this will all die down and then we can implement that last bit of the agenda. And by then it'll be too late, because we'll have control of, the finances, the banks, the money. We'll have implemented all the things that we want. We'll have the digital control. We'll know what everybody's doing. This is how it's kind of playing out in their minds. This is in their minds, not in most of our minds. But in their minds, that's what they're actually thinking. They think if we just please everybody and quiet these people up, I mean, they know that the people who have already complied, that's not hard to deal with because they're people who will comply. So that's sort of easy. But it's those ones that are pushing hard against what they're trying to implement, that they're wanting to settle down. And they will do whatever it takes to quieten down the masses that are now standing up against this tyranny, dystopia. People are aware now that these things are turning into more of a dictatorship and a little China, and they don't want it. People are really resisting, and it's causing this real push now. And I talked about that earlier in the year. We were going to get this real push and then the pushback and then the push and then the pushback. But I really feel like the balance is definitely getting more even now. There's this teetering now where the sort of, not so much the fight, but it's getting a lot more even in the people making a stand, because they're tired. People are tired of fighting for their freedom, fighting for their jobs, fighting for everything. It's just getting beyond a joke now. So that's why more and more people are standing up. And some people are starting to see the injustice of it all and how it has really caused a lot of this segregation. So if they can manage to please the crowds and tone them down with, feeding them a few treats and keeping them from rising up any further, they feel like they can really implement that last part of the reset. And we know where that's heading. Ooh, we don't want to go there. I'll just see what else comes up. Now, I'm getting that a lot of people are in two minds what to do. Now, when we're thinking about the Great Reset, which we know is pretty much coming, we have to do our homework. And I've said that a lot in my last couple of videos, that you have to do your financial evaluation. There's no point sitting on this and thinking, oh, look, if we push back against this, they're not going to be able to implement the Great Reset. But I can tell you now, they've already implemented probably, like I said, 3/4 of it. So you have to get really serious about where your life is heading in the direction that you want to take it. We can see in Canada, and I think it's in the Ukraine as well, people have taken their money out of the banks because they know what is going on. So this is a good thing, because this is like popping that balloon. It's the prick that has released the air, and now people know what's going on. So people are starting to withdraw their money from the banks. People are investing in silver, they're investing in gold. And I've said to you before, if you look online and go and check out some financial expert, there's so many on there that can prepare you for what might be coming. Now, whether that comes or whether that doesn't eventuate the Great Reset, we know that there's definitely going to be global changes, and they're going to be on a financial level. I keep saying that this year's going to be a really big year financially. There's going to be big changes that are coming, and it's really going to send a lot of people into a spiral. Mind you, they've already been through that in the last 2 years, losing businesses, losing jobs, people's livelihoods, people have gone under. So much financial strain has already been felt. People couldn't even make their house repayments, I don't know how good the banks were at helping people out with that. But I tell you what, a lot of people are waking up and they're starting to withdraw their money, and that's probably a wise move. Better for you to have it in your own pocket and invest it into land or something sort of concrete that you can own, rather than leaving your money sitting over here in the bank. And look, I'm not a financial expert by any means. I'm just sort of trying to give you that wake-up call now, that start to get really smart with your decision-making. Don't go and get yourself into massive amounts of debt this year. It's not the year to be doing that, because there's too much uncertainty as to whether this reset's going to move forward or it's going to get squashed. Now, the powers that be, as we know, have got a lot of momentum, and they've got a lot of strength. And not only do they have strength in their in their own mind, I guess, but as leaders, but they also have a lot of strength in their cabinet and the people behind them. And we've got to remember that these things are all driven about money. When we think of big pharma, we think of big tech. These are the people who are driving these things forward. So who owns all the media platforms? Pretty much, if we look at Bill Gates and all, Zuckerberg and all these people, Pfizer, you name it, these are all the people that have made money out of the pandemic. Amazon's another one that comes to mind. And all the little people have been the ones that have suffered and lost. So that's what we've got to look at. We've got to look at pushing back against corporate. Try not to support those kind of things as well, because you're just giving them more money. During that lockdown, I can tell you now, Amazon or any of these online e-buy or all these kind of things, they made a killing, and all the small businesses got completely wiped out, and it destroyed people's livelihoods. And that's something that we've got to really think about. So I'm really today giving you the message to get focused on your finances and how you're going to navigate moving forward. Think of the scenarios. Think if this was to happen, if interest rates moved by 3%, would that impact me? Could I reduce some things that I'm doing at the moment? Because let's face it, we all waste a lot of money on, all the Netflix and all. Everybody seems to have everything nowadays, don't we? Stan, Netflix, I don't know what channels you've got over there, but we all have these extra things. Mind you, I couldn't live without Netflix, I have to admit. But there's other things in our life that we can look at cutting back on and being more productive, perhaps, is what I'm saying, and also being more smart. Like I said, if you've got money sitting in the bank, I would probably go out and purchase land, or I would go and invest it into something, or if not, just withdraw it from the bank, because we know the banks and the CEOs and everybody who works there is also making incredible money from all these things. So when you take your money out, as we know in Canada, that starts to cause the government to have to look at things. So these are the kind of messages that I'm getting today as well, is really start to look at your finance and go and search around and watch some great people. I know there's a guy called, I think I said the other day, Robert Kiyosaki, I think his name is. He wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book. He's very clever as well, and there's so many other people as well. So just go tap around and go and help yourself looking forward into that financial sort of area of your life and where you're going to be taking it. Now they're showing me like a school formal. So they're showing me people dressed up. They're showing me like a ball gown, someone feeling very magical. And they're saying that when you think of a school formal, I don't know if they call them debuts in America and things like that, but when you're dressed up and you've got that beautiful evening out, it's almost to me like the completion of something. So in Australia here, when children have their school formal, it's usually at the end of year 12, and it's the completion. So I feel like we are nearing the completion of something, and that's the kind of image they're giving me, is that relief and that completion. So I feel like it's like the completion of a cycle. So whether that be that completion of our old life and we're heading into the new, we have to actually look at it as a transitional period. So we're going from the life we had before into the life that we're starting now. And this is very significant, because that's why I keep getting back to finance and things like that, and how you're going to navigate your life moving forward. And look, I get it. It's really hard after the 2 years we've been through to even put your thoughts or focus on pretty much anything, because it's so draining and so tiring, and you just want it all to be done and just live this little simple life. And look, you can choose that too. I know I've got people out there that write to me that are choosing to kind of live off the land and go back to very basic lifestyles, getting off grid. That's a very popular thing now, but that's what this is showing me. When they're showing me pictures of people at their sort of school formal, that's that closure. So I feel like we're going to be going through that phase, and that's the symbolism of it, is that we're getting closure now. We have realised that our lives will never be the same, and they are changed forever. And the dynamics of our friendships, people are not talking to family members. I think we know that's all pretty much done and dusted now. And like I say in a lot of my videos, people have got on their own trains and we've all gone into different directions. And that's something that we've had to accept. We have to accept that closure now. And that's that saying goodbye. Like when at the formal, when you're saying goodbye to your schooling life, that 12 years or whatever is behind you and you're moving forward into that big wide world. Well, that's what it's saying to me. We're moving forward into that, well, it's called the New World Order, but we don't have to call it that. I'm not going to call it that. We know that's what the agenda is pushing with the reset, but we can create our own world and our own way of living. And that's why it's so important that you start to focus on those things and see where you're headed. Life is not the same. We can never go back there. We can only move forward in the way that we choose to move forward. And that's about staying strong in who we are, believing in ourselves and our decisions that we've made, and knowing that they're the right decisions for us. And the new things that are coming into our experience are also there for a reason, to help us through as well. So that's what I'm saying about creating your own new life. It's okay to let things go. Sometimes you have to cut the ties and let things go. And that allows you also to move forward. You don't want to be tied and being held back by things. You want to actually move your life forward in a really great, and maybe take it as a positive that maybe some really exciting new things will come as well. So I think that's what we've all got to look towards. I mean, if any of you guys out there have been to any of the trucker convoys or the protest marches, I know I went to the one here, in Australia, and it was so uplifting. Kids were having fun. There were kids on bikes. People were barbecuing. There were flags. There was songs. There was music. There was joy, and there was happiness. And I know personally that's what I want for my future. I don't want to live in that misery and that exhaustion anymore. It's just a tiring energy. So look, I think that's what we've got to focus on, is focus on joy, focus on happiness, focus on supporting each other and staying really strong, moving into that future. So look, I hope that helps you today. It's just a little bit to help you get through. I know it's really challenging. I'm exhausted from it. I know you guys out there. I get great comments. I love hearing from you guys. You guys are supporting me as well. And thanks for all my birthday messages. I absolutely loved getting them from you guys. As you know, I don't have a lot of friends left here in Australia. Most of my good friends have exited and think I'm completely crazy. But, you know, that's their journey and I've got my journey. So I'm going to stay on my path and keep moving forward this direction. And that's what you've got to take from this video today. Keep moving in your direction and don't stay tied to the past. Let it go. If you have to cut the ties, then you have to. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Hit the like buttons. Like I said, I've got tons of videos on self-help that can help you as well. Check out my other 2022 videos. If you look back, it's funny looking back at some of the things that have evolved. And I will see you in the next video. Bye from Australia. Bye.